Okay, so hello everyone and welcome. It's weird to welcome everyone when I can't see anyone but myself, but I know you're all over there. I hope you can hear me. So my name is Madeline and I've been working in marketing and media world for about a decade. It makes me sound a little old. But over the last 4 years at the Gilman team, we've been kind of building and expanding our marketing department. So kind of what I'm sharing today is some things that we've learned along the way. And we're going to be kind of surface level on the presentation and the Q&A at the end. You can ask more detailed questions or comments or whatever. So save those for the end. Let's see. Oh, my slide did not progress. There we go. Okay. So this is just overview quickly what we're going to talk about. And then I'm not going to waste time giving you details now. We're just going to go in. Okay. So starting with the basics, how do you market yourself, particularly on social media for right now? So first off, you have to ask yourself and I'm looking down at notes, so I apologize. You have to ask yourself some very introspective questions, like what is your voice? What do you have to say? What perspective can you provide that no one else can? And at the end of the day, you just have to be yourself and you have to be honest. So to start, you can make a commitment to post something every day. If a formalized post or a video is a little bit too daunting, commit starting with stories. And you can just record something while you're on your morning or evening walk, talk about what you've seen in the market, a recent challenge that you helped a client overcome, or a new listing that you have coming up. You can really talk about anything in your life related to real estate. And it's going to be educational and useful for somebody, and put it on your stories. Those stories are a great way to kind of ease into social media and get you used to talking about things. And if you hate it, it goes away in 24 hours. But a lot of that content will be useful for you to save, and you can pin it and it becomes effectively evergreen on your profile. So if you do something like that every day or every other day, it doesn't take very long for you to have a lot of that useful content on your page. So before you really do that, though, you also need to ask yourself, what is your ultimate goal with social media? If you're just wanting followers, you can kind of post more freely, freeform, just whatever comes to your mind, work or not. If you really want to eventually get this to lead to potential leads, then you need to at least partially tailor your content, especially in a more local way. Because you want to set yourself up as the local expert in your area. And not just about real estate either, but you want it to be apparent to whoever's on your page looking at your content that you are familiar with local food, events, neighborhoods, the odd quirks that make your city interesting, and set yourself apart. So taking a step back, if you look at this from a team perspective, consistency is kind of the most important thing. Consistency with your branding, consistency with your general content, and consistency with like the face of your company, and like that recognizable person. You can tell on ours, it's Mark, of course. And at the end of the day, you don't want someone to feel like they're following a corporate machine. And that goes for a team or just an individual like agent profile. You don't want them to just to be a corporate, business all the time. They want to see your face and hear the stories behind your company and your work. So you have to have kind of a nice blend of personalized content and then more business related stuff. And on a team, your fellow agents are the perfect ammunition for some engaging and real content. I mean, you can film snippets of training sessions, call arounds, door knocking, scripts and dialogues, role play. Content like that is already happening all around you at all times. You're just not necessarily capturing it right now. And all you need is your phone. So as an example, if you're kind of stuck with where to even start with anything, AI is your friend. On the top left, you can see this bolded. That's what I put as the prompt: social media post ideas for a real estate agent into ChatGPT. And it gave me all 12 of these ideas, and all of it was already built out. You can turn these into a reel, a carousel post of images, a story, YouTube short, a teaser tweet, a blog. I mean, the list is actually endless. So this 12 ideas that came from one little prompt could actually keep you going for weeks or months with content. So there's always ideas out there if you have nothing, if nothing comes to mind that you want to say. So with social media in particular, you have to remember that the number of followers, I know we kind of get caught up in that as kind of a popularity contest, but the number of followers is not actually the most important thing. It shouldn't really be your ultimate goal. I mean, I guess it could be, that's up to you. But what you really want is a high level of engagement with the followers that you do have. So thousands of followers don't really do you any good if you're only getting, 2 likes on a post and no engagement. And you have to remember that not every post is going to quote unquote go viral. So in fact, most of them won't. And just because something didn't go viral or have a lot of traction does not mean that it's a bad post. And everything you put out there is still getting more eyes on you and your knowledge and your business, and ultimately giving you more credibility. It just takes time, a lot of time. And the algorithm can be impossible to figure out. And by algorithm, I just mean how social media prioritizes, like putting your content in front of other people's eyes. So what we do know is that the algorithm does favor accounts that post regularly, back to consistency. You have a high engagement rate, and you also engage back with people that engage with you. So if someone comments on your post, comment back. It doesn't have to be anything super involved in what you respond with, but anything back to engage back and forth, the algorithm is going to boost your content. You should also follow people and accounts that make content like you want to make, or that inspires you. Similar accounts will be recommended to you, and you'll have kind of a constant stream of things inspiring you. So between like using AI and just following and engaging people on social media, you really should never run out of things to say and put on your social media accounts. And you can see something that someone else did, make it your own, put your own twist on it, and make it better. So some of this we've already covered a little bit, but it's worth mentioning again. Be consistent. Post every day in some form until it's a habit, and then you can build up from there. If you start with stories, then maybe you alternate and do stories every day and then add a post every other day. And then maybe you want to do 2 posts and a video, but you still keep doing your stories every day. If your followers watch your story every day, no matter what you're saying, they will begin to expect it and to look for it. And on Instagram in particular, like I mentioned, you can save highlights, which I don't know if you can see my mouse, but our team has about 12 highlights, and they're all divided. And that's basically evergreen content that's available for anyone that visits your profile. So think about this. How easy would it be for, after your weekend open house, to take a 20-minute walk around the neighborhood and do a quick little tour of that neighborhood in your stories, or just film a little video and put it together in reels. And then in just a few minutes doing that, every weekend after your open house, then in just a few weeks, you've compiled a resource of local communities and neighborhoods, which is very useful information for a buyer. You also want to cross post on as many platforms as possible and optimize for each platform. And there are, programs and apps out there that can do it for you. But, start with what the vertical videos for Reels on Instagram and Facebook, and then the horizontal on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. So the hot topic these days is Reels for Facebook and Instagram. And all it really takes is 1 or 2 really successful Reels to gain a lot of followers and potential leads. And there are so many strategies with Reels. And I'm not going to tell you one strategy is going to work for you and one isn't, because you kind of have to figure it out yourself. But some people find success with it's just you and you're talking and you have a caption. Others never show their face. They just have beautiful imagery of homes or neighborhoods, and it's a voiceover. Some people don't ever have any words. It's music, whatever music is popular and then all their content is in the caption. Some people have a short caption, all the content's in the video. It's an endless combination, and you just have to try a couple of different things and see what works. And like I said earlier, follow the accounts that are making the kinds of videos that you want to make, because it's going to inspire you and give you ideas. And there's no right or wrong way to make a reel. You just keep making them. When you're making them, though, the first second is critical. People's attention span is very short, and is only getting worse with, more stuff and content that's out there, because we're training ourselves to get through stuff faster so that we can go through things more and absorb more. So if someone's scrolling on your page, if you don't get them in that first second or half a second with whatever's on your screen or whatever they're hearing with music or words, you've lost them and they're going to keep scrolling. So your content can be amazing, but if you're not capturing them at the very beginning, it doesn't matter. So keep that in mind. And you can have a lot of success on social media, but that is rarely enough on its own, unless you want to go the influencer route. You cannot forget about the big picture. So you have to aggregate all of this marketing. So if you're aiming to get a local following, then you also need to be very visible in your community offline. So you may not get a solid lead from someone that just drives by your billboard on the highway. But if they have seen some of your posts on social media, they've gotten a mailer or a postcard in the mail, they've seen your free community truck driving around or other vehicle, and then they see you on a billboard. It might be the billboard that gets them to actually call you, but the billboard on its own is not what did the work. It's all of this other visibility, and they know that you're adding content and you're knowledgeable, you're a local expert. So you have to think of it as like social media is great. You can put time into social media, but you can't forget about all of the other things. They have to all work together in synthesis. And just being everywhere isn't enough either. You have to be very strategic. So every single piece of marketing that you put out in the world needs to have a call to action, and not just a call to action. It needs to be an easy to follow call to action. So we tend to use a lot of QR codes and very simplified URLs on our marketing, like TGT value, TGT offer, TGT club for our client club, and be consistent with what you're actually, what your calls to action are as well. So like just going through these. So this left one is a print ad. Then one more over to your homeowner, that's door knocking. These two side by side, that's business cards. So even a business card should have a call to action. Mark's signature is below, and then you can see below that we're directing to a fellow. Social media posts, this one on the right, the square one, and that's actually pinned at the top of our page on Instagram. And then you can kind of see some sample ones of URLs. They're like $10 to $12 to get these URLs, and they make everything so much easier. So it's worth just getting simplified URLs. And some of these are a little long because we've had them and we've used them for many years, like the GelmanTeamTruck.com. We also have TGTTruck.com. So anyway, just buy them. They make it a lot easier. So consistency, like I mentioned, with what your call to actions are is important. You can't have all this stuff out in the world and then every single piece that someone is seeing is a different call to action. Like you want some of this stuff to get ingrained. TGT value, TGT offer, those are super easy to remember. And if someone has seen it 3 or 4 times, they aren't going to have to go look you up to find that URL and go fill out, their home information on our fellow page. They're going to remember it because they've seen it a couple of times. So, and you can have, TGT offer and value. They go to the same landing page, but they don't know that. You have to tailor all of that stuff. And we use the same kind of strategy for recruitment. So TGT careers and a QR code. And then I just wanted to show you on emails kind of different strategies with all of these call to actions. And so we send a monthly email, which I'll talk about in a minute, but this far left image is the signature for this long email from Mark. And it's got a lot of stuff on here, but we're not changing it every month. So it's a consistent thing. Like people know if I go to the bottom, I can get to the blogs, I can get to the website, I can do offer value and matchmaker and search homes. The one in the middle is an agent email. It has very similar look to the one that Mark sends because those people are probably getting emails from both. So we have that recognition. It's coming from a different individual, but there's brand recognition there. There's similar calls to action. And the one on the right is for like recruiting emails. Sarah's ultimate goal is she wants to get that meeting with someone, find out what they're looking for, you know, a team, getting her license. So she has one call to action because that's really what she wants. She doesn't have all this other stuff. So there are a lot of tools out there to help you with all of this. Some of it's free, some of it's not. You know, Meta Business Suite has a lot of tools and stuff on there that's free, but it's not without its frustrations. If you've ever been in there and tried to do anything, it's a little complicated, but you can still go in and schedule posts on Facebook and Instagram, you know, like a month out. There's posting apps. There's a lot, just a few of them is like Buffer, Loomly, and Repurpose that will post on a bunch of different platforms for you. And you just put it on one platform and it'll change the format and stuff for you. That makes it easier. And they all have their glitches, but you find one that works and use that. If you're a visual person, Plannable might be good. You know, you can actually put your graphics in on a calendar and lay out and see how things all fit together. You're already familiar probably with ChatGPT. We've already talked about how to use that. Canva is great for people out there that aren't necessarily graphically inclined, or you just want to make things easier for yourself. You know, all I did on here was type in real estate in the search bar. I didn't even put in like real estate listing ad, or, you know, I didn't even put any specifics, and you're going to get a whole host of things that's already pre-built. Some of it's paid, some of it's free, but you can put in, it's not just static images on Canva either. There's real templates. There's presentations, there's documents, brochures, stickers. You can actually even order stuff to print from here. It's a whole world of stuff. And it can also just help you with consistency and collaboration. Like you can easily share templates with someone, and then there's, if you upgrade, there's teams. I like just having the visual of seeing all the things that we have and that's created, because I can see the consistency from piece to piece, you know, with fonts and, you know, layouts, the photos that I'm using, all that stuff. And Canva is, you know, it's free. I mean, there's an upgrade version, but it's free. So why not use it? And then let's go back. So as far as with QR codes, we use QR Tiger. And something to keep in mind with QR codes when you're making them is you want to create a dynamic QR code, not a static QR code. There's a lot of sites out there that will allow you to make free QR codes, but they're going to be static. And you can use static. I mean, that'll get you started, but the dynamic ones will allow you to track scans and locations. You can make changes to the QR code, like what URL it's going to, so that, you know, if you printed a postcard and it's out, but oh no, you need to change the URL. If it's a static one, I mean, too bad. If it's dynamic, you can make changes and keep those QR codes functioning and all that stuff. So we use QR Tiger. Linktree's been around for a while, and you can put it on, you know, social accounts. You can use it, you can send it to people. You can kind of think of it as a collection of your call to actions, like where you're sending people or where you want to send people. So it's this image on the left for us. And this is kind of a pared down version of like all the stuff you have out there that's on your website, you know, on your pages, landing pages. But this is kind of a list of your calls to action. So we have our fellow step at the top, our matchmaker, our career page, our blogs, signing up for emails. I've copied those and duplicated, but there's not actually a duplicate on the list. It was just 2 screenshots. And our website. And this Linktree is free. There is a paid version, but you can use it for free, so why not? Lead pages, I'll just touch on briefly. If you're hosting a special event, you need a web page, or you want to have something that lives outside of your existing website, or you don't have a website, there's templates and stuff on lead pages that you can use. And there is a subscription fee for that, but there's so many tools out there. Like this is like less than 0.5% of things, all the things that I'm mentioning. So just search in there, you know, Linktree, landing pages, all this stuff is out there. So another tool I do want to definitely highlight that we use a lot is Flipping Book, which I hope I shared my screen properly so that when I open them, you can see them. But we actually use Flipping Book at every stage of a client's journey with us. So let me just open. I hope you can see it. You might not, but
it works.
Okay,
Madeline, it works.
Awesome. Thank you. So, like every stage. So procuring, so we have all this stuff. This is our pre-list book. How do I get back to my slides now? We have a buyer book, a testimonial book, which I'll open. And then these are just more tools. They're for your agents, but they're also ramping up the client experience. Like giving this to someone that's a prospective client, it's much more polished, it's much more put together, and just gives you an overall better presentation. And then, we have a photo shoot checklist for our sellers that gets emailed to them before their photo shoot. I'm not going to open the closing book because it has personal information on it, but it has, all the stuff they need, signed closing documents, disclosures, pictures, surveys, all that stuff. And when it's in this form, it's not just a big chunky folder that they're going to lose and then, oh, I need this for taxes or whatever. Like it's on there and they can download it as a PDF. And then another big one that we do that I love is our anniversary book that goes out a year after closing, and it keeps going out every year because we add stuff to it every year. And I'll go to the end and go back. Has stuff in it like a home maintenance guide, recipes, DIY projects. Endless. So we just add to it every year, and it's something special to keep us in their mind for years down the road when they're ready to buy or sell again. And of course, this kind of program is very useful internally as well for like new hire training stuff, standard operating procedures, all that stuff. So highly recommend Flipping Book. So once you have the leads, and I'm not going to get too in the weeds on this because I'm sure you all have, drip campaigns set up and reminders for check-ins and all that stuff that, is part of the business. But an easy way to kind of, if you're not doing it, a newsletter, an easy way to synthesize marketing and branding even more and keep people in the fold is a newsletter. And just sending out like ramped up versions of what you put out on social media. So there's many ways you can do this. Some people, I may skip a slide, there we go. This one on the right is a bi-weekly, so every other week, it's a letter that one of our agents sends out. And it's a letter format. So we have one image, and then it's just her talking about the market, things going on in her life, upcoming stuff. And then the one on the left, it's a very graphic, like real newsletter. That's just little snippets of things. So you can do it however you want. But if you're consistent, people come to expect it, and they're looking for that information there, so there's a lot of different ways you can do it. And there's a lot of different programs you can use to send this out. And you're going to you can use what you're putting on social media as a basis for what you're putting in there, but you don't want it to be the same, because if someone is, following you on social media and then they start getting emails and you're like, well, I don't want to also get emails. I've already seen this information. It's annoying. So you build it and expand on it or have related content. So for our team, like our big quote unquote newsletter that we do is we send a monthly email out to 8,000, 9,000 people, first 10 days in that window of the month. And it has two main parts for ours. We have a March market update and a month in review. And the March market update, we've been doing that for a long, long time. And the update is kind of a nitty-gritty look at the local market, active listings, days on market, expired listings, inventory, number of sales. And this is super informative information for anyone actively wanting to buy or sell, or anyone wanting to stay on top of the market. And the recap portion is, I guess, relatively new for us. Well, probably a year old. And this is a celebration of our agents and our team. Top agents for the month, who's on a billboard, who sold an open house lead, highlights everything that makes our team special, like client events, Forever Client Club, charity events, free agent training like this, goal planning. And this is the kind of content that gets readers and followers invested in you and your team. You want the informational stuff like March market update, but you want the stuff like the recap as well that sets you apart, and it makes people want to celebrate with you and follow along with your journey. And of course, this stuff is converted into other forms for social media as well. So you've got to bring it all full circle. So I guess to just wrap things up quickly before we do questions and comments is, in sum, your marketing, your social media, your branding, your lead nurturing, all of that is an endless loop that kind of feeds itself and keeps everything turning. So you need to use, social media to build your credibility. You got to aggregate your branding and marketing offline to gain more visibility and keep top of mind. And you're leveraging your more quote unquote standard marketing, like email campaigns, to again stay top of mind, keep people informed and keep them invested in you and your team. So that's all I had to share before I open up to questions and comments. So thank you for joining me. And then before we do that, though, just kind of what's in the pipeline coming up for other webinars. And yeah, so I will open it up now. Thank you. So I know we have people in person over there. If you can share your video or sound, and then you can send a question in or a comment in the chat, and I'll see it there.
Hey, Madeline, do you want me to just ask questions? Is that okay?
Yeah,
or do you want me to?
If you want to ask questions, yeah.
So for somebody that's just kind of wondering where to start, I know you're saying cross posts, but what would, like, if you were to say, TikTok versus Instagram versus Facebook versus YouTube, like, where do you believe would be the best place to start and then build from?
It kind of depends on what your goal is and who your target audience is. So, different generations of people are on different platforms. Millennials are big on Instagram, older, and Facebook, but older generations are more on Facebook. TikTok is definitely younger, Gen Z, millennial. So it kind of depends on what your target is too. But I mean, the easiest place I would say to start is if you have Facebook and Instagram, since they're linked to the same company, you can post on one or both of those and it's going to cross post for you. So you're going to get two in one, basically. So that's what I would recommend. But you got to really ask yourself those questions on who you're wanting to get. Are you wanting first-time home buyers? Because then you might want to do TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, if that's who your target goal is.
Would you, I know you said that I'm sorry, stories, I'm drawing a blank, are the best place to start, but would you say Reels wouldn't hurt as well, probably, just to start building?
No, Reels are definitely a great place to start. It's just if you're not confident in what you're in, like, because Reels are longer. So that's the other thing, stories are only, I think they're 10 seconds or less, and then you could do a group of them. But if you're not sure and you can fill the full 90 seconds of a reel, I mean, you don't have to make a reel that's fully 90 seconds, but I just think stories are a little more informal. So that's why I say, if you really don't know where to start, you can start there and then go away in 24 hours. If you're like, I got to get something out there, but I'm not sure about it, you can put it out there and it's going to go away. And then you don't have to worry about it unless you save it in the highlight. But
and then
are you definitely where a lot of people are getting traction? Like I said, I mean, some people, they have just a few, like one or two, like truly viral reels, and that's what kickstarts their social media. But you don't know what's going to get that kind of visibility. Like something that you think is just an amazing post, this is your best one yet, it might totally flop. And then one that you're like, oh, I'll just, put something together, that might be the one that takes you off. So just keep putting stuff out there, and because you don't know what's going to be received.
Are you on the reels that are like the ones that you used in your example? Are people building those typically in like a Canva, or are they using like Opus Clip, or what would you say is their preferred method to build their reel to make it look more
There's a
professional?
bunch of ways you can do that. One of the reasons why I said follow people that inspire you is because there's a lot of reels out there that were built out with the internal, like building a reel in Instagram. And when someone does that, at the bottom, there's an option for you to use reel template. And so all you do is click on that, and then you can go into your photos and select what videos or images you want, and it will automatically match everything up to the template that you just used. So like if you really like the music and how it's timed to the music, whatever, you can just use the template and make your own version in like less than 5 minutes. So some people are doing that. A good thing to do when you see a reel like that you like, but maybe you don't have the right content at that time to like remake it yourself, you can save it. It looks like a little tag. It's like a box with a triangle out of the bottom. On the bottom right, that you can click the 3 dots and hit save, and then you can go back in later when you have the content you want, use the template and build it out. So you can do it that way through Instagram. And then of course, if you have your Facebook linked, it'll post to your Facebook. Or like you mentioned, Opus Click, if you have a bunch of horizontal videos that are long, like too long for reels, there's a trial version of Opus Click, and then there's a subscription where you can upload those videos and it'll automatically convert it into, it like finds your head and then adds words. It'll spit out however many reel clips based on how long your original video was. There's a lot of tools out there that are like that. You could do the reel templates in Canva too. You can search listing reel and it'll give you templates that'll take images from the normal photo shoot and convert it into a reel if you want to start that way. There's a lot of options out there. That was a long answer.
Just quickly, sorry, there was so much to unpack there of gold, Madeline. But so you're saying on a reel in Instagram, if they've used a template, then you should be able to click at the bottom of the reel and then
even if they haven't made a template, if they've gone in and manually uploaded like videos and photos and like messed with the timing and all that, like it will be a template that you can use. So I'm trying to find an example on my phone because I want to make sure I'm giving you the right instructions, but it'll be on the bottom. I think it just shows up. Let me see my saved ones. It'll say something like use template, but it's a little different. So if you get different options depending on how you get to the reel. So if you are scrolling on Instagram and you come across a reel, that's when it's going to have the use template, and then the save is on everything. But if you go to someone's profile and you click the post and you're looking at the post view of a reel, you won't necessarily get that option to use the template, if that makes sense.
So which view should we look at?
The reel view.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to test this later.
That is a frustrating part, is that you get a different view depending on how you get to an actual video that shows up. That is a frustrating part of Instagram. But what I like to do is, so after you post a reel, like I said, with following pages that inspire you, after you post a reel, Instagram will automatically start playing reels at you. And if you keep scrolling down, it will just keep filling your feed with reels. After I post a reel, I like to spend a few minutes watching the ones that Instagram recommends to me so that I can save reels and templates or the audio that I like for reels down the road. So you can kind of do two things at once. You can post something and you can kind of prep for stuff down the road all at once. And that can save you time later. And I think for saving, you just hit the 3 dots and then save. And then if you want to go back to those later, you just go to your profile, you hit the 3 long lines at the top, and then kind of halfway down on mine, there's a couple of different versions of Instagram. There's just saved, and you can see all posts. Or I save a lot of audio, so I have an audio folder and then a post folder. if you really don't know how to do that kind of stuff, just send the reel to somebody and then you can get it in your messages.
All of us over here are like, okay, noted, sending to Madeline.
Yeah, just send it to me. I send them to our photographers all the time,
Create my
like reels that I
template.
like.
I love that.
Thinking of like for the holidays, like of doing some sort of holiday card or like like with a recipe and
Oh yeah. Yeah, that
start.
well, it's Madeline, you have the Canva template for the newsletter, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you want to leverage that template, you just create your own from there. Yeah. With your stuff. Some little sugar
And if
cookie.
you, I mean, if you type in newsletter, there are so many things that will pop up on Canva and it's super easy. So something that's nice, if you have a color palette, you know, we have our branding for our team, but if you want to kind of make your own brand identity and you're doing this separately or on your own or starting out, if you find an image or something that you really like the colors of, you can upload the image to the page and right click on the page and apply the colors to that page, and it will all Canva will identify those colors and they'll pop up on the left. So if you want to kind of take a template but make it your own or put your own spin on it, it's very easy to do that in Canva by just putting in stuff that inspires you. And that's a whole other, using Canva, maximizing Canva is like a whole other training session.
That'll be Madeline phase 2, educating the agent.
Yeah, that's much more like practical hands-on stuff, but
Yeah.
And Canva is adding stuff all the time. So it's a pretty great tool and most of it you can do on there for free. So if you don't have Canva, get Canva. Any other pressing thoughts or questions?
I think everybody here is all good now, Madeline. Thank you so much. This was
Okay.
awesome. So helpful. Great
And
job.
let me just put up our upcoming. So agentnation.com will have info on these, you know, in the next couple of days and weeks. So just go back there. We always have something going on. So thank you guys for joining me.